Hello everyone and welcome. It's Shanna. So glad you're here. Now today I'm working with the August stamp of the month from Craft and Kimmy. And this is a stamp that you get when you order over $70 of product with Craft and Kimmy, and then you get this stamp set for free. So I'm just going to bring in some scraps. I'm using up the scraps in my craft room, and I've got a scrap piece of watercolor paper there. And I'm just going to use it. I'm going to use some alcohol markers, and they'll work just fine on some watercolor paper that I've got there. So I'm just getting this inked up with some Memento black ink, and I'm just going to press it down on my watercolor paper using my Misty. And I'm going to do a second inking because this is the first time I've used it, and I needed to condition the stamp a little bit more. So we'll get the second inking done, and it looks good. I think we're ready to go. So we'll just get the stamp cleaned up, get the Misty out of the way, and then we'll choose some colors and we'll do some coloring. So I'm just going to put it right back on its little carrier sheet and get it put away. That way I don't lose any pieces. So we'll get the Misty out of the way, and I'm going to bring in my swatch chart for my markers and just figure out what colors I want to use. So I'm just kind of reviewing it, and these are the pattern papers that I'm thinking I'm going to use. I think I actually shift gears, but with at least one of them. And then I'm just going to find some colors that I think will match. So I found them, and I'm just going to grab those colors and bring them in and do some coloring, and hopefully it will all come together nice. So I made my marker selection, and I'm just going to do some coloring. And what I think I'll do is I'll just kind of speed up the coloring and play some music, and then we'll come back and we will assemble our card. And I think that will go a little bit faster. So here I'm just swatching out, just double checking, making sure that I've grabbed the colors that I do want and making sure I have the order of them. And so we'll just do some coloring, play some music, and we'll come back and assemble our card. So we've got our coloring done, and I'm going to bring in a stencil from Craft and Kimmy, and this is like a mountain tree grass stencil, and I'm just going to do some stenciling on here, and I decided that I needed to create a mask, so I'm going to stamp out another bear, and I will fussy cut it out, and we'll use it for a mask for my panel that I've already colored. And I'm just going to cut this out because it will take it some time to fussy cut. And through the magic of camera, I've got it cut out, and I'm just going to kind of check it and see if it's going to work on there. And I didn't have any double-sided stick, low-tack stick, and so I just used that little tape run and just put a little bit of tape on there, and I'm just going to get it down. Now I have got this stencil upside down. I've lost my mind, and I've got it upside down. And I'm going to do some ink blending with some green. I'm just going to use what's on my green blending brush and just do some blending and trying to get, and then I realized I've got it upside down. So I spun it around. I still have my mask on there, and I'm going to do some more blending on it and just kind of fill in the green as much as I can and get kind of a grassy area underneath my little bear. And I'm just continuing to blend on there. And then next I'm going to grab my orange blending brush and blend around the top of the area and just kind of add kind of like a little orange hue to it, just make it look very fall-esque, and just do some blending there. And so now I know that I need to, I'm going to die cut this out, and I've got just some etched nested dies that I have, and I'm going to cut this down so it'll fit on my die cutting machine, my Scout, and I'll be able to run this through it on camera here. So I'm just going to lay this inside panel to the emerald etched dies and do the stamping and just die cut it out, and then I'll use the detail die that goes around this for my pattern paper, just to make like a background for it. And so I'm going to just try to cut away a piece of this so it'll fit on my machine there, and then just die cut it out. These are just scraps of paper that I had left over from last fall, and I'm just trying to go through all my scraps of paper that I have laying around, and my scraps of cardstock that I have all kinds of little pieces for. So I'm just going to use this. Now I'm kind of changing my mind here, because I've got it portrait and I want to do landscape, and that paper's not going to work for that because it is directional and I don't like what's behind it. So I'm going to go digging through some more scrap and find another piece of paper, and then we'll cut it down. And so I've got this paper here, and I'm just going to cut it down to 5 by 3 1/4, I believe, and then we'll layer it up. So we've got our shimmer, our shimmery paper down there, then we've got this leafy pattern, and then our plaid, and then our actual design. And I think this is going to work out just fine. Now I'm thinking I want to do something more to this panel, and so I'm quickly grabbing my Craft & Kimmy stamps and my ink daubers so that I can do some blending on here. I've decided to use my daubers so that I can have clean, I don't know, whatever these things are called, clean brushes, pouncers or whatever for my Craft & Kimmy inks. And I'm going to actually store them with my Craft & Kimmy inks so that I don't use any other colors with them. And so I've done the orange, and I like how that turned out. And now I'm going to bring in the green, and I'm going to change my blending foam there and just get some green on there and just kind of bring a little bit more green into that bottom panel there. And I think it looks better. I like it better. And so we'll just get those put away, and I think we're about ready to assemble our card. And I went to get a card base, and I didn't have any ready, so I'm going to have to grab one and get it scored, and then I can get my card laid down on my card base. So I'll bring in my little score buddy and just score it at 4 1/4, and we'll fold it up and have our card base. And now we can get to assembling this card. So tomorrow's August 1st, and this video is going to air tomorrow, and that is when the August stamp of the month is released and people can begin getting it. So I'm kind of late getting this video done. My product came in yesterday and I didn't have time to work with it, and so today I did. I've done the voiceover this evening, and it'll run tomorrow, and hopefully you like it. So I've got that ink on my desk there, and I realized it, and I thought, I've got to get this cleaned up before I make a mess out of my card base. So I just sprayed it with alcohol, and I'm just wiping it down, and now we can assemble our card without making a mess. So I'm getting that all laid down on there and making sure it's pressed down. I didn't get glue close to the edge, so I'm pulling it up so I can see it and sticking some glue in there and then rubbing it so that the edges of that specialty paper will lay down flat. And then I'm just going to get this panel lined up and laid down on there, and then we'll assemble our emerald cut piece, and you can see there's some pumpkins and leaves on the back of that. And then I'm going to lay my stamped image down on that, and I think it's makes a nice frame around it. And I decided I'll bring in some foam tape and pop this up, and that way it'll add just a little bit of dimension to my card. I'm trying to get my scissors that I use with my sticky stuff, and we'll get this foam tape laid down on there and finish up this card. And I'm sitting out on my back porch tonight. It's a lovely evening and the birds are chirping, and you might hear some of that in the background, but it's just very peaceful out here, and I am enjoying it. So I'm going to get that laid down. I first stick it down and I'm not quite lined up, so I have to pull it up, and I'm scared, but it came up all right, and I was able to get it laid down exactly where I wanted it. I think it looks cute. I'm going to add some embellishments. Just going to see what I've got in my little baggie here and what will look nice, and we'll get something laid down on there. And I just chose some gold embellishments, and I'm just going to kind of scatter them around on this panel, and I think it'll look nice with the colors that I've got for the pattern paper. So I'm going to do 2 on one side, and then I think I do 1 on the other. And I'm having a heck of a time there, bouncing around there and getting stuck on my glass mat. Actually, I think I do 3 and then 2 is what I do. And we'll get them laid down on there. And I think it's cute. I love this little stamp, and I do love autumn. Summer is my favorite, but then I always like when autumn rolls around. So I decided I couldn't leave well enough alone, and I decided I was going to go ahead and create another card. And I grabbed some scrap paper, and I pressed down on it, and I wiggled it and ruined it. So I'm going to start over with another piece. And I actually found a tag that I had laying around, and I thought, I think a tag would look good on this card. So I'm going to use it, and I'm going to try again. And I cleaned the stamp off really good, and I pressed down with my ink carefully, and I'm going to be really careful. Now this tag has got some gloss to it, but it did stamp down okay, and I got my little bear stamped down on there, and then I'm going to clean off my little acrylic block here and get the cinnamon laid down on there, and then I'll stamp it up. And believe it or not, this is the only acrylic block that I have, is this one here. I use the Misty most of the time, and occasionally use this, but it's the only size I have. I think that's kind of strange, especially as many cards as I make. Anyway, so I was able to get the cinnamon stamped down on there nicely, and now I'm just going to, I was kind of shaking it, drying it, and I'm going to just decide what I'm going to do with this particular tag. So I thought for a minute, and I thought I'm just going to go ahead and use the alcohol markers again, and so we'll just do some more quick coloring, and then we'll put this card together as well. So that pretty much wraps up our coloring that we've done on the tag, and I think I'm just going to lay it on this paper position like this. I've got the A2 size and then the strip, and then I'm going to lay my tag to the side of it. So I needed to bring in another card base, and so I'm scoring it and getting it ready. And then we'll just get this laid down on there. So I've got this paper here that I had in my stash that it has, you know, crisp apple pie, cranberries, yummy pumpkin pie, and all kinds of words relative to, I guess, Thanksgiving. And I thought it'd be cute to use it. And then I've got this kind of plaid burgundy rust-colored paper, and I'm going to just use this strip. And then we'll just lay our tag on the pumpkin side. And I think it'll look nicely right like this on here. I'm just going to get it positioned on there. And I think I'm going to bring in my tape runner and just, it's kind of a tape glue runner, and just get that tag laid down on there. Try to line it up nicely. And I think it looks super, super cute. I really like the way this looks on the tag. Now, I've decided I need to bring in some, I don't know, fillers for that, all that open space on the tag. And so I knew I had some more of this paper. And so I'm just going to cut some of these leaves and pumpkins and stuff out of this, and we'll get them laid down on here. So that's what I'm doing right now. Now I have everything cut out now and kind of positioned on my tag. And all I need to do now is just get it glued down. And then I think it'll help just kind of fill in the areas around my little stamp set and add some additional interest to the card. And I'm just using my glue press to get these laid down on there. And they're just teeny tiny. It was kind of challenging to fussy cut them out. At one point I even had to use the tweezers to hold it and then kind of trim around it, but because they're real small pieces. But I think it turns out cute. I really like this little stamp set. It's super sweet. I just like the expression on the little bear's face. So we got all these little bits laid down on there, and I got my little acorn on there, which was teeny tiny, and I think it turned out cute. I hope you like it. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Take care.